Something magic happens on your radio. You make the magic happen. The magic of Orioles baseball. When the game is close and the O's are hot, there's a thundering roar from 34 to give it all they got. And you never know who's gonna hear the call. Every game there's a different star on WFPR.
Orioles magic, hear it happen. Orioles magic, hear it happen. ORIOLES. Magic, 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 magic.
Something magic happens on your radio. Make the magic happen. The magic of Orioles baseball.
This is Orioles magic. This is ChipChat. I'm Chip. Who are you, Tez?
You just told him, buddy.
Welcome to a special edition of ChipChat. If you are watching on the video, no, you are not confused. This is an HTS shirt. There was a time, we're going to talk about it later, but there was a time when the Orioles and Bullets were on the same network.
Yes, a long time ago.
And you had to pay an extra $8 a month to get it on your cable package. And you could only have it on the TV that they put the little descrambler on, which was our one TV in the basement.
Okay.
We didn't have cable on other TVs either, but just
One TV.
that was one TV that was for baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Yes.
And it was a Zenith.
Ah, good brand. What is the brands? Zenith,
Magnavox.
Yeah. God, I'm forgetting of one other one that's is a
Of
huge
TVs?
TV.
Toshiba.
Toshiba was a huge one, obviously, in Sony. But there's like another one I'm missing that I can't think of right now.
I don't know.
There's like another
Panasonic.
Panasonic is
Yes.
the other one. There it is. There it is.
Panasonic. Gotta love it. All right. So, yeah. We are going to be talking about the Orioles.
Yes.
I guess I don't know what you're doing for your talk later, but that'll
we
show.
joke about not preparing for these shows sometimes.
Don't worry, I wrote you something in case you didn't.
It's
one of those times.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those times.
We also have a guest tonight.
Yes, we do have a guest.
We have a very important guest, actually. She just popped up. She's in the green room. She's early. That's fantastic. I expect nothing less than that from her. She is a lawyer.
Woo!
Did you know that they let women be lawyers now?
Jesus Christ! Yes, I didn't know that.
Apparently, Donald Trump doesn't like his woman lawyer anymore. He says he was looking for new lawyers.
Oh, bad time.
Well, because Smoke Show Haba apparently.
Smoke Show Haba.
That's what the guy called her. He's like, look at Alina Haba. She's a smoke show. While he blew up her spot about not being sick while she was in New Hampshire. Anyway, okay, we do have a lawyer. She's joining us. Don't worry, we're not in trouble. But she is an expert on crypto, and she's not a bro. So she's like the only person
we would want to talk
can talk to about this.
Exactly.
Because if you're a crypto bro, don't be a crypto bro.
I mean, some of those people are mayors of cities.
And some of them are in prison. So anyway, Jenny Cieplak is going to join us a little bit later. Also this week, the Middle East keeps going great. So we're going to have to talk about that very briefly. The best drug dealer in the crime-infested rat hole of D.C. turns out to be the Trump White House.
Yeah. And there are less rats.
Yeah.
Election year will do that. I tell you that. Not even like the DC election year will do that.
No, well, Adam's got the rat czar.
Yeah.
And some lady that likes to go after rat. And Muriel got cats that don't eat rats. They eat mice. Those are not the same thing. It's not just a bigger mouse. It's a totally different thing. Muriel.
Beast.
Muriel.
Again, I will say that last year, the year before was like the rats were just, it was kind of crazy how they were moving.
The rats were running for ANCs.
Exactly.
That's true. Two of them got elected.
Oh, God. Woo! Yeah.
Also, speaking of which, DC just started the non-resident voting registration. Yes. And there's a non-citizen, but resident. Yeah. There's a non-citizen ANC now. His name is Abel. We're gonna get him on the show.
Yes, that should be.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we also have our version of Marketplace again this week. That went so well last week. We're gonna do that
Doing
again.
it again.
And there's a new ChipChat in space. Yeah, I'll try. It's my best. Plus a whole bunch of other things. It's a 2-system party.
Yeah.
How's your book?
All right. So, listeners, I don't think we told that. Did we tell them on the air? No, the story about the pages.
Well, we told you that you're making progress and that you're dog earing all this stuff.
I didn't tell that on the air. So, what ended up happening is this is an 800+ page book. And I get to, the books like this sometimes have pictures in them. So, you get the first set of picture page, and that starts on 234, but you get to the end of the pictures. Sorry, they're very sad pictures. And you go to 235. So you go from 234.
Right. So it's just a pictorial interlude.
But yeah,
but the pages go in order.
But the pages go in order.
Yeah.
So I get here and I'm reading through. It's a great chapter, and getting into it. It's at 746, and I flip, and then it goes to 779.
Where's the 30 some odd pages?
There you go.
How many pages of pictures are there?
A decent amount.
But are there 30?
Nah, not 30.
Maybe like 5.
Yeah, exactly. You're being kind. Probably like 10, 11 pages. So I'm missing this. So in true nerd fashion, I went to.
Did you go to the library?
Yes,
and Xerox the missing pages?
Xerox it. I went to the DC Public Library, MLK downtown.
Shout out, beautiful. Yep, the renos were really nice. Yep.
And I went and talked to somebody. I looked on the app and said they had it, and not only did they have it, it was
card
on
catalog.
Display.
It was on display. Yeah, you didn't have to get them to wheel it out in the little cart.
Exactly. They were like, "Yo, you gotta." We don't really know where it is, but we know it's on display downstairs. So I was like, "All right." And yeah, I checked out which I don't check out many books.
You buy books.
I buy a lot of books.
You do.
I went and checked out the same book, and
you own.
That I own to get
these extra pages.
And I read through the chapter that ended and started a new chapter.
Did you then pick up back in your copy,
yes,
or did you keep going on the library copy?
I'm back to my copy of the missing pages, and I didn't.
Was it worth it?
Yes, I thought. It was really a tie. I was missing in those 30 pages.
A lot happened.
It was a lot happened.
The fall of the Soviet Union happened in those last 30 pages.
No, it was very interesting.
So you need to get in touch with Penguin Publishing and be like, "Yo, this copy is deficient."
Yeah, I'm trying to wonder if it's like the juice is worth the squeeze on this. Like, do I just I don't know, bite the bullet?
No, you get in contact with them, and then you get whoever talks to you on the show.
All right, that's good.
And have them explain on the air why they cheated you out of so many pages.
How this happens. Yeah, actually, there you go.
That's a good story.
That's a really good story. I'll work on that.
Good thing we've got a crack reporting team to go dig that
out. All right,
up.
guys. Okay. All right.
You have literally one job.
And sales, please, you too, over there, do some work.
The team is watching.
The team is watching, as always.
All right. Also, I went to the show over the weekend. I got to go to Cal Fifth and Blacklick and Davey Fresh.
I know that was dope.
And Team Demo was there. Wow. So that was pretty cool. And we got to hang out and the guys say hi, and we had a really good time. I told Blacklick what I sent you the text that like watching him perform was like that fantastic interview, but with a beat. So that was really cool.
She's dope. All of them really good.
Congress sucks. They did bipartisan thing on one side, and then the other side is like, "Hey, wait a minute,
hold on, we got a call. 1 second."
Yeah, why is my phone ringing orange? And then of all people, Grassley was like, "Well, I don't know about this, fellas," and I'm like, "Chuck, come on, buddy." How do you even know that this is happening?
You got Biden out there talking about, "I'll close the border."
Yeah.
And they said no.
He said no.
They said no. Again, ass backwards. Everything. Well, again,
we're gonna get to it, but it's just
so obvious.
Yes.
So obvious.
And Grassley, of all people, and then this was on the child tax credit increase, and he was like, no. And like, Senator Grassley, for the love of God, you're on your great grandchildren at this point. You need these child tax credit. Your family needs these things. What is wrong? And he was explicit about it. He's like, I don't want to let Biden get a win. because he's got an election coming up. Chuck, you're not going to be there for that election.
Hey, Jesus.
He's going to meet him. Chuck Grassley was the senator from Iowa when Jesus was walking around the first time. And I'm Jewish.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah, we don't.
So do you have a word for tonight?
Yeah,
I've got a word. Okay. So sit back, grab some
pages.
It's SK time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
Welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's got me out?
So now we've come to our least favorite segment that we have to do periodically, which is the Middle East updates. It's expanded. It was called just Israel-Gaza war. Now it's called Middle East updates. Notice the mission creep? Yeah. All right. So there's a few things that we got to talk about. Yeah. One of the things that a lot of people, myself included, were very worried about, is supporting Israel through this draws the wrath and ire of many other people in the region.
Yeah.
And it isn't really like a far off place where America isn't involved. We have a lot of presence in the Middle East, a lighter footprint than obviously the last 20 years.
But still,
but that comes with its own risks.
Yes.
And these light footprints, small bases, a few hundred troops scattered here and there, 1,000 in Iraq, give or take, means that we're a target.
Yeah.
Our people are targets out there. And, unlike having a giant base with 3 Burger Kings on it, it's a little more vulnerable when you're in like containerized housing in the middle of the Jordanian desert. So what happened was somebody flew some drones at that base and blew it up. Yes. They didn't blow up the whole base, but they hit some housing and they killed 3 American soldiers. Now, how this happened, there's a lot of controversy about. Was it because we had a drone on its way back at the same time? It's sort of like piggyback. What's this thing with people do with their badges that you're building?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't piggyback.
To come in and out of the buildings with your cat card or whatever.
So like maybe the bad guy drone was like piggybacking on our drone or whatever, but it got through our defenses.
Which is crazy. Because again, we're in a different type of warfare. Then it's not your friggin' bayonets. It's not your like trench warfare, I guess.
It's not even cruise missiles, though. You understand that drones have democratized warfare.
It's crazy.
The internet has brought true little d democracy to every aspect of the world. You can easily get your hands on anything you want.
Yeah.
It's relatively inexpensive. Thank you, child labor.
Yeah.
And it's relatively easy to control because the AI does most of the flying. So like all the barriers to entry in war are removed.
And don't give humans that.
You want to get into a war?
Yeah.
Make
it easy.
Click, 2-day shipping, Prime, boom, bang, there goes your enemy. I mean, I use Amazon as a weapon. Do you not use Amazon as a weapon?
It's funny. We always joke in my house at the end of the year how many times I've ordered something on Amazon. And like, I usually am somewhere in between like 10 to 20 items.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm one of those people.
I prime things to people as jokes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really fun. I highly recommend this as a method.
Just what's an example of this?
All right, this is way off topic,
This is so
but
off topic.
My
As always is yelled from back.
my sister-in-law used to be married to this guy.
Okay.
He was a dick.
Oh, this
Is
guy.
a dick.
This guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is an Eagles fan. Just that tells you everything. So at one point, there was some bit where they had moved to a faraway place, and his mother was like, "Hey, I wanted to send them these hangers, coat hangers, but the shipping is exorbitant." That was her word. And so she said, "Can we ship them to your house and you can put them in your suitcase when you go to visit them?" No, you cannot. So she went out to go visit him in this far off land.
Yeah.
And I knew when she was doing it. So I primed a set of coat hangers to arrive at the same place while she was there visiting for like a week to prove how
Fast. Yeah.
easily this is doable.
Yeah.
And the shipping was exorbitant. It was $3 extra. And like, it was really funny for me because they arrived and she figured out what happened almost instantly. And I got an angry phone call, and I had such a good time with this.
Jeez.
And it taught me a valuable lesson. If you ever want somebody to have to deal with a miserable situation, prime them something they don't want. Because they're not expecting it. They open the box and they're like, "Oh shit, what am I going to do with this?"
Make it worse is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great.
All right. We
so
always do this in these segments. We hate talking about it.
You can prime people drones, and the bad guys got them. They got them from Iran. It's pretty likely. Anyway, they killed 3 American soldiers. And the thing that I was very worried about is eventually it's going to go from a few people got hurt to some Americans get killed.
We don't like that.
The United States does not like it when our people get killed, and we tend to overreact.
Similar to not the only country.
We're not the only ones to do it. And I don't blame countries for reacting strongly to these kind of things. But we have this notion of like, we're going to retaliate in a way that's going to teach them a lesson. They won't do that again, which has never worked. Ever. See Houthis, for example, this week. We've blown up all their shit. It did not stop them from hucking more missiles.
One might argue that the big bomb might have.
That happened. It took 2 of them, though.
That is true. That motherfucking Japanese.
Yo, we hit them once.
Good.
And Hiroshima, and we're like, "All right, guys, that's it. Surrender." And they're like, yeah. And they're like, "Are you fucking serious? We leveled an entire city with 1 bomb.
It did take 2.
Don't make us do it again." And they're like, And we're like, "All right, Nagasaki, bang."
That's a really good.
And they're like, "All right,
that's
now."
a good counterpoint. Yeah.
Okay, so like nobody learns their lesson. It doesn't work. It just enrages the other side.
Yeah.
It drags you into a bigger war. This is the problem. So this is what I was afraid of. Somebody's going to get killed. Now it has happened.
Yeah.
And now the Biden administration is like, "Look, we're going to retaliate, but we're not going to tell anybody what we're going to do." And of course, the right is all mad. Why haven't they leveled Tehran yet? Like,
No, but then there are some people on the right that was like, Trump kept us out of wars.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And Trump's telling everybody they never would have attacked if I was in charge because they attacked because of Biden's weakness. Never mind how many times the United States was attacked while Trump was president, number one.
Or I might even argue maybe they're attacking because of you when you killed their homie over there,
Right.
Soleimani, and we all forgot about that. Maybe. So I know that, but again.
Also, Trump thinks that the rest of the world is as obsessed with him as he is.
Nah.
They don't care. America is America to them. They don't care who's in charge.
No.
They're looking at it as one place.
Yeah.
I've talked to several people in other countries. They're barely aware that we have differences in government. They can't tell us apart. We look and sound the same.
It's the Imperial Americans.
Yeah. You and I look the same to them.
Yes.
We sound the same to them. It doesn't matter.
No.
Only here do we look and sound different to each other.
Yes, that's really shit.
It's crazy. So now 3 people are dead. Now we're going to retaliate. Nobody knows where, and they know that it isn't going to be proportional. I'm dreading this because I've seen this movie. This literally happened 20 years ago, like to the day. You know, when did we invade Iraq? It was 2003.
Yeah, but I mean, Joe Biden's not putting any like serious ground troops anywhere. We know that.
Yet.
I don't think that's happening.
Mission creep is a thing.
It is, but I mean, I don't think that, again, because this is an election year as well, too.
First, we have to retaliate.
Yeah.
Now we need to have stuff ready in case we need to retaliate again. Now that stuff needs force protection, so we need to move more stuff in there to protect it. Well, the stuff we moved in needs a little bit more force protection. By the time you're done, you've built Bagram.
No, I'm not in this case here. Not in this case here.
Okay.
I think there will be obviously a response. It won't be proportional, but I don't think it'll be on the scale that we're dreading at this point.
I think some of it's already happening and we're not knowing about it.
Easily, I would hope so.
You know, floodgates on dams are opening in the middle of Iran someplace or whatever, and you know, industrial sabotage, hacking, Stuxnet.
Interesting to be here from where we were when there was a deal between us and this country. It's a far cry from.
There was a deal.
It was in like.
Then there was somebody came and ripped up the fucking deal, and reneged on literally every contract and agreement we ever made. Maybe. What are you giving them $600 million in cash for? It's their fucking money. Idiot.
Yeah, I was like, cause it's the sanctions, and you know, we gotta kind of give some.
Because we're supposed to be the ones that honor the rule of law and follow the rules after we make a deal. That's how you work. You don't get to just like make a deal and pull your hand back.
Yeah, so it's. I mean,
of course, if you're Trump and somebody goes to shake your hand, it just kind of falls right through. It's so tight. Yeah.
I hope that our good friends in China, you know, maybe are able to hopefully talk to their good friends in Iran, and you know, maybe we can like smooth, like, look, can we
trade them one of the less populated islands of Taiwan?
Smooth something like.
You want your mango pineapples of China? Let's make a deal. We
kind of have to smooth this out somehow, but we're far away from that. And I mean, I think it starts with probably the next piece, the next story.
Which is where we're getting to.
That's where it starts.
There seems to be a framework in place. I'm not going to say it's a deal. It's a couple of pages long. Yeah. Our show is literally longer than the deal, to which you contributed heavily.
Yeah. Me.
To this deal and to the show. It's
exactly.
You might be doing both. Who knows? Very clandestine. There's a framework in place to maybe trade a bit of ceasefire in Gaza for the remaining hostages with some sort of like addendums to continue should certain conditions be met, and also increase humanitarian aid. It's flimsy at the moment. The negotiations are complicated. One of the things that makes them complicated is that the Hamas leaders who might have to sign off on this are effectively incommunicado with their political leadership outside of Gaza, because there's no way to communicate in or out of Gaza unless the Israelis turn the internet back on, which they're not going to do. So they're literally hand delivering messages through tunnels, getting it back out, reading it in Egypt, transmitting this to Qatar, figuring out what they're going to do. It's laborious at best, but it seems like there might be a deal. It could happen. One of the things that's really critical to pay attention to is who is negotiating this deal. People might not really know this guy's name, okay? But there's this guy, he's an American guy, his name is Bill Burns. He's the CIA chief. He's not Secretary of State. He's not Secretary of Defense. He's not one of these kind of, you know, he's like several levels below. But so far, every deal or every bit of real change in policy going on in Israel vis-a-vis the United States has gone through Burns. And it's because he has a relationship with the chief of Mossad, which is the Israeli Foreign Security Forces, basically their CIA. Right. And he's got a good relationship with the Shin Bet, which is like their FBI. It's their internal security. And he's also got good relationships with the intelligence agencies basically throughout the world. And that's who's making these negotiations. He's well trusted by the Biden folks. He's well trusted by the Israelis, and not just the political leadership of the Israelis, you know, Netanyahu and such, but also the military, which is critical here, because the military in Israel does not always see eye to eye with the civilian leadership. They will follow, they will do the thing, but I have it on good authority, which I can't divulge how, that there is a lot of conflict and turmoil in that relationship. The guy who briefly was able to assemble a government that wasn't Netanyahu in the last 20 years, this guy called Benny Gantz. He was the chief of the army. He's won several wars. He's a real army guy, and he's in the war cabinet who's working with Bibi at the moment. So like having that defense intelligence apparatus working on a negotiation is critical, almost irrespective of what the political leadership is doing.
Right.
Which is very important, because here's what the political leadership is doing: going to fucking settler conferences and doing a bunch of fascist bullshit. Okay.
I think also what's interesting here, and I don't think credit, like folks don't want to give credit here, but like you also have to have good negotiators with, like, between the Qataris and Hamas.
You do.
And like you got to have someone who's able to have that conversation as well too. And like you hope that these individuals, whether it's coming out of Egypt, whether it's coming out of Qatar, like those individuals are able to be like, hey, you like come to the table. We need to find a way to stop this. I think if you get to 6 weeks, which was mentioned in the story here, like you might get to a point. 6 weeks is a long.
That's a long ceasefire.
Time.
And generally speaking, it doesn't last that long. But if you get half of that,
you might be able to start figuring out what this looks like in the end. But I'm not sure,
because you have to administer things for that whole time, and that gives you a little bit of a practice or a little bit of a foreshadowing of what it could look like.
But again, I think and it's what's obviously difficult is, I mean, we're somewhere close to 25,000 people that have been.
It's 26,000 at this point. I mean, and that's an undercount for sure.
Right? Exactly.
100%.
And
probably double that.
It probably is easily double that. And I think, what does this look like going forward? Like, it's a raised place. It's raised.
It is a sheet of glass. This is the thing that people have always said. It's like if you really push it, the Israelis will turn something into a sheet of glass, and you will not be able to rebuild. You'll never farm that land. It's just devastated.
I do wonder though, then, like, because in other countries, and I don't think like there's a similarities in this, but there are like rebuilding missions, but like that can only happen if you can get I think you have to have a new Israeli government to do that.
Obviously. Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, right? Like, there's no way, but like there should be, this doesn't seem that, like, it shouldn't be that complicated, because it should be, all right, we're going to do nation building in here.
Marshall Plan.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you guess, and especially for the state of Israel, how it got there, should be easy to be like,
just do that again.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Hey, we fucked it up the first time we didn't get it right.
Just rebuild that.
Rebuild that. And again, you could flush Hamas out easily on that point. If you bring in actual state builders, it's easily done.
Yes.
There's a whole apparatus. The UN,
yes.
there's apparatus. There's a way to do it.
There's several agencies.
It's a way to do this.
And you got to be careful about it, though, because sometimes those agencies are infiltrated by Hamas. But you got to understand, like, also, like, the UNRWA stuff, they had people that were helping on the thing. Like, Hamas controlled that place like a mafia. So, like, don't think that the people had any option. There's no, they're going to rise up and overthrow Hamas if we make it miserable enough for them. It's not happening.
No.
Hasn't happened in Iran. Hasn't happened in North Korea. It doesn't happen. Collective punishment does not work.
No.
This is all ridiculous. But ultimately, you have a problem where the controlling political authority in that area, which is Israel, has democracy.
Yes.
And that is, at this point, a bit of a problem, because enough people vote for crazy, dangerous fascists that it puts them in government.
I think there is something, if I had time and I could unlimited money, I would go and look into it. I really do think there is something about sets of folks who have experienced something on a grand scale of fascism that, again, on the flip side of this,
makes them a little too comfortable with it.
It's very, I never did any, but it just seems this, because it doesn't make any sense to me, actually. It's like,
It does seem to show up in a lot of those places over and over again.
Again, the only other place I can really give a comparison to this is even like, again, Cuba and the folks in Miami. And and it's not the exact same, but it seems like the policies that folks
Thailand's had a couple of like military coups, Turkey, couple of,
and I don't know. It's very like, I don't, but it can't be
El
that.
Salvador's back into like a, death squads and all that stuff again.
Like, fascism isn't cool wherever it happens, and it's just
but the trains aren't on time.
Yeah, well, they always they better run on time. I'll tell you that. They better not be late.
Right.
We've got exactly. Because where the train's going, there's stuff to be moving on the fucking train.
That's right.
It's very scary. That is a scary, but like it's a scary piece. But peacekeeping troops, like if you want to protect, like. If you say, all right, this is going to be the territory of a new state, there has to be a place that people can, like, because if we believe in the nation state,
we can't trust the Israelis to administer this. It's clear.
And that's cool. There's a place that can, and while am I saying, hey, I want UN troops to occupy Gaza, and maybe the
blue helmets hang out for a little while. I mean, it worked in Bosnia.
Yes.
Bosnia's a functioning country right now.
Yo, it can get there. Yeah. There has to be a political will, though. There's not that on the other side of that.
Correct. Case in point, right here. There was a. This is an insane. I'm just going to read you the opening to this story. This is from Reuters, the wire service here. Hundreds of members of the Israeli settler community gathered for a convention in Jerusalem on Sunday, calling for Israel to rebuild settlements in Gaza and the northern part of the occupied West Bank. Israel withdrew its military and settlers from Gaza in 2005 after a 38-year occupation. And Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has said it doesn't intend to maintain a permanent presence again, but Israel would maintain security control for an indefinite period. I don't know what that even means.
Intend is doing so much in there.
We don't mean to do it. We just have to do it. But importantly, there were 12 cabinet members or high-ranking government officials who attended this,
along with our friend, really our friend.
Well, and including specifically Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. Look,
Ben-Gvir is a wild guy.
Yeah, and he has his own army.
He's a wild guy.
He's a dangerous, crazy nutcase.
He'll Palestinian man, woman, child doesn't give a fuck. Okay, easy. That man does not care.
So
he makes decisions.
This is the problem where the democracy part of Israel makes things a little challenging, because if the rest of the world is like, all right, Israel, we need a two-state solution. We need to get this thing sorted out. Let's come up with a way to end this violence once and for all. Everybody's going to have to give up something. They're not going to be happy, but you're going to make so much money, you're not going to care. Just cool it. And people are like, all right, I'm listening. And then Smotrich and Ben-Gvir are like, oh no, we're going to kill everybody and push them out, and we're all going to occupy the thing and take them in. And they're like, oh no, we're going to voluntarily ask them to leave. And I heard the BBC was talking to one of them today. The BBC reporter was like, a lot of the people in Gaza, more than 50% of them are children. They can't support Hamas. They don't know. They're not doing anything. And the settler lady that she was talking to was like, literally said, you do not mean what you just said. I know you don't mean what you just said. The people there all support Hamas. And I'm like, they're fucking kids. They're not making decisions. They're 5.
Some are dead.
And a lot of them are dead.
Many are dead.
And this is apparently fine.
Which is crazy as well, because when people get upset, I guess, with the word genocide on there, I think by nature of destroying women and children, I am not sure really, call it what the fuck you want. I don't know. I don't know how you get more people without women and children.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how it works personally, based on my research.
Yeah. I think it's Legos.
Legos, right? Exactly.
Legos,
more Legos.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It is at cross purposes, because if the U.S. government and the UN and everybody's trying to negotiate and talk to the Israeli government, when they're like, all right, well, this is the stated position of the government, but several, and not just several, but 12 ministers are attending these conferences that are talking about wholesale like removal and replacement of a group of people. I don't know what other word to call that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what else to call it.
And it is so unhelpful. I know that sounds like a really sort of like mild way to put it, but it is that. It is very specifically that. It is unhelpful for these people to be doing this unless the thing they're trying to help is more war.
Because that's the only outcome.
That is the only outcome. The more you inflame the situation, and even if you did occupy it, what happened in those 38 years? The military had to sit there to protect people so that they could go to Pizza Hut because it was so dangerous. They were always getting attacked because they're in a place that the people that are around them don't want them there.
And again, if we can just go back to like people's feeling about their nation state and what they believe is theirs, they'll fight to the end. End.
Just flip the thing for 5 seconds, and would you even tolerate it? Could you imagine? Could you imagine if those maple-sucking, pink money-carrying, French-speaking Canadians walked across the border and snatched Vermont?
And said it's ours now. Exactly. Just thinking about it makes you irate.
I hate Canada now.
It makes you irate.
I'd be like, I don't even like Vermont.
Exactly.
Give us back Vermont, God damn it.
Exactly.
We'd be rolling tanks into Quebec.
Everybody's waving their flags.
Tomorrow.
Yo, we're marching up north.
Kick the Leafs out of the NHL and kick the Jays out of baseball. Nobody knows they're in baseball. And just what would you wouldn't tolerate
this? No one would tolerate it.
Shit, Greg Abbott can't tolerate the fact that the Constitution says he can't have a park that he wants to fill with barbed wire. We're gonna get to that later.
It starts with a ceasefire. This is everything you need. I mean, that seems obvious, but you can't move
Good
forward.
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
It has to end because we have to start working on what's next. And that sounds terrible.
Nobody is ready for that.
20,000 plus people dead, but that has to be the whole thought process around this, because now you just cannot repeat the same thing. But once you've again raised the whole area, you got to something gets rebuilt on it. Something. We got to choose what that is.
Holy Land.
I think that is still the friggin'
It's the best
option I've heard.
Possible option.
Holy Land.
Shout out to Rich. Best idea I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah. I tell people about this.
My whole life. This guy, I've known him for 20 years. He's a genius.
That's it. Yeah.
He's real low key about it. He's a manager of a hardware store. You wouldn't know it. Smartest guy on the planet. Just, hanging out, telling people how to get hammers and stuff. Fixing chainsaws. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. Oh, breaking news. Breaking news.
Yes.
What you got, Brian?
Since we are going to be talking about the Orioles later,
Yes.
they did the biggest trade ever in a long time.
Don't say, you're going to say something I'm going to be really...
Oh, no. This is good.
Oh.
Did we get Ohtani?
No.
Oh.
No. Look, we don't want to break the bank just yet. But we did get a top tier ace for once. Corbin Burns, who used to play for the Brewers, is coming
That's
to
where he moved?
Yep.
I did not know.
The Orioles picked him up. Here's the thing. The Orioles did not give any prospects away. They gave
learned how to trade.
Yes, they gave away DL Hall, Joey Ortiz, and there'll be a 24 competitive balanced round pick that was given it. So pretty much we got him for cheap
the last time. Brilliant. Way to go. Good breaking news, Brian. Thank you for that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, especially after
Makes
the
me
last
feel really happy. Well, it lifts my spirits.
Exactly. Hey, good.
It's no way to distract me from the world's death and destruction like baseball.
Yeah. It's always the American
Bread and
way.
circus.
American way.
Yeah. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to our guest who has been patiently waiting, listening to us rant about crazy shit. Then we're going to ask her about even more crazy shit called crypto.
Crazy shit show.
It's a crazy shit show.
Heavy on the shit show. Hey, there you go.
Book 'em, Dano. You're listening to Shit Show on Beltway Radio and beyond. tip with me is Tez.
What's popping up?
Brian, who is that? We don't know.
No, I do. It is DEHD. Their album, the song's called Mood Ring, and it's on the album Poetry.
There you go.
So
That's
Yeah.
cool. Mood rings are still around?
I think so.
some way.
Weren't they made of like some sort of cancerous asbestos
Was
or
that
something?
true? Oh, wow.
I think so.
You might be right on
Yeah.
that. That's it. Yeah,
I don't know. Stuff doesn't just change color like that.
When you said that, I was like, I think there was something.
I
around
think there
there.
was
Maybe that's
something
what they're
about
on.
that.
All right, change the mood.
All right. Anyway, Jenny Cieplak is a really accomplished person.
The only thing we have around here.
That's true. Plus us. She's a musician, like a real one with a degree in violins or something like that. She's a writer. She's an active member of many boards and advisory groups of various trade organizations. Also, she's a lawyer. Did you know that?
I did.
Specifically, a lawyer who deals with banks and finance, and even more specifically, a finance lawyer who deals with crypto, which is why we have asked her here. Jenny, welcome to ChipChat.
Hi, everybody.
I
And
love
this
your
background.
I
is the
love your
best one
background.
that's ever been on this show.
Yes.
Describe it for our listeners if they can't see
Yes,
it.
so if you're just listening into us, that's the Dogecoin dog,
That's the
right?
Doge-
He's the
Dogecoin
Dogecoin dog. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
says much
One of
blockchain.
my friends made this for me as my.
You have great friends. That is so. It says, wow, so Bitcoin.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Jenny, we have a lot of questions.
Yes.
We've written several of them down on this paper here, so we're going to ask you some of them.
All right.
A lot of our listeners know that crypto is a word and that it made a lot of news, but many of them still don't know what this thing is when we all talk about it. So could you briefly explain what a blockchain is and what cryptocurrency is in relation to a blockchain?
I can't do that briefly. But I'll do my best. A blockchain is basically it's a computer program. And the design of this computer program is such that it's meant to be run on many computers at once, and they're all talking to each other and communicating with each other. And one of the things that this computer program does is it keeps a list of all the Bitcoins that are in existence. So when Bitcoin was first started, there was one guy that held all the Bitcoins, and he could transfer Bitcoins to other people, and the blockchain keeps track of all those transfers and all those transactions. Users on the blockchain have what's called a wallet address. It's basically like a username and associated password, which is called your private key. And that keeps track of how many Bitcoins you hold. So from a very basic standpoint, the idea is that there's this distributed ledger, which is a term you'll hear a lot, that keeps track of all of the Bitcoins in the world. And that ledger is constantly being updated among people's computers. The other cool thing about this ledger is that when I send a Bitcoin to someone, all the other computers in the network immediately know that I have sent that Bitcoin, so it avoids something called double spend. This is all from way back in the day when people first started talking about blockchain, and now it has really grown into this vast ecosystem and it's changed a lot and morphed a lot and become a lot more complicated. But that's the basic idea, that you have this ledger that is distributed among multiple participants, so everybody always knows what's going on, as opposed to your bank account where it's the bank keeps track of everything and it's one bank. So everybody knows what has happened. It is pseudonymous, meaning you've got these wallet addresses that don't have a name associated with them, although it's actually not that difficult to track for law enforcement, as we've learned over the years, but it's got a lot of interesting features. And another interesting feature that it has, because it is difficult to find people, and because it's distributed, and because it can be used by anyone anywhere in the world. A lot of people, when they first started using this technology, were like, hey, this is like the monetary system, but there's no rules. And governments started looking at this and they were like, no, there's, just because it's online doesn't mean there's no rules. There's rules. So the history of this has been people trying to take advantage of the fact that there's no rules, and also people trying to do cool and interesting things. And all of that has gotten kind of mixed up together, so it gets a lot of bad press. But there are a lot of people who are doing interesting things with the technology and with cryptocurrency.
So we're going to ask you about rules and regulation in a little bit, because I know that's like a big thing about what you're looking at. So if I understand this right, it's basically like every transaction that ever happens is recorded. So you can't, like, if I pull $1 out of the bank and I start passing it around, it could go to like 15 different people without anybody really seeing where it went, except for those people, you know, and then you wouldn't have no way to know what it got spent on. I bought some gum from you, you bought a beer from a guy, he bought a burger from another guy. Whereas on the blockchain, those transactions all are trackable. Is that mostly the idea?
That is mostly the idea. I mean, that's not the idea behind blockchain. Isn't to track and trace individual human spending. The idea is to keep track of who has what, so that you can't mistakenly do this quote unquote double spend. So
Right.
in the regular financial world, again, you've got the bank saying, okay, well, you withdrew $500 at the ATM. Now you only have $30 in your account. You can't withdraw another $500. When you're dealing with internet money, you need some other way to do it. And that way to do it is for basically that system to be duplicated across a whole bunch of different computers.
But it makes sense that, because blockchain ideas and technology is not just in currency. So it's useful for things like shipping, inventory, any of those kind of things where you don't want to, as you call it, double spend. You don't want to misallocate something. You need to know where stuff is at, and especially when it's a finite stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and one of the things that people do with this crypto stuff is that they mine for crypto, which, as far as I can tell, and you're going to probably tell me I've got this very wrong, it's people using their computers to be this distributed ledger thing, and to help maintain the accuracy of the blockchain. So they're constantly running and updating this, and when they find an error, they get some sort of a reward for it, which is like some tiny amount of the currency for keeping, for doing that. Or maybe they get some sort of like little tiny bit of this currency for every hour that their computer spends tracking the blockchain. Is that more or less how mining works?
Not exactly. So I'm going to talk about mining, and then I also want to talk about something called staking, because mining is really, of the major blockchains, only the Bitcoin blockchain uses mining today. And mining is basically, this is going to sound really weird, but it's basically a bunch of computers generating a bunch of random numbers to see who can guess the next random number in the program. And when you guess the correct random number, you get to quote unquote add the next block, and you get a reward. And that reward is a little bit of the cryptocurrency. So this takes a lot of energy to generate all these random numbers.
Sure.
But a lot of blockchain operators or people who develop these things have said, hey, we don't like the fact that it uses all this electricity and computing power, so we're going to change to something that is less compute intensive, which is called staking. And I really don't want to get into the specifics of that because it will take all night. But it's a way to add blocks to the chain. Basically, it's like the more tokens you have, the more coins you have, the more likely you are to be selected to add the next block, and it kind of goes round robin. So there was a couple years ago, there was a very big blockchain called Ethereum that transitioned from this proof of work, the shouting numbers thing, to proof of stake. And even though it was a completely distributed operation with, millions of users all around the world changing over at the same time, it worked, which is kind of amazing when you think about how in some cases you see banks trying to change over IT systems and it takes them 10 years to do it.
Sure.
Obviously, banks have a lot more regulations and a lot of legacy technology to deal with, but the fact that it worked is pretty cool.
Jenny, is staking, can that solve the climate issue that we have where mining is that possible? I mean, or
Yes.
we're not there yet.
Does it undo the damage that mining does?
Staking doesn't use nearly as much electricity, so it's supposed to be more climate friendly. Yes, that's the idea.
So my question for this is like, the blockchain, if it's tracking every single time a coin moves,
Mm-hmm.
and people are spending these things freely, that's a lot of computing power. And it's happening decentralized. Are people volunteering their computers to help be part of this tracking, or what is the mechanism here? How is that happening?
Yes. So, and I wanted there isn't just one blockchain. There's the Bitcoin blockchain, there's the Ethereum blockchain, there's Solana, there's Polygon, there's a lot of different blockchains out there now, and they all have different ways of solving that problem, that wasted electricity problem. But it does still take computing resources, but the thing is there's a lot of excess computing resources in the world, and so it's like I could theoretically use my phone to mine Bitcoin. Back in the day, that actually would have been worth something. Now there's so much compute power that's dedicated to mining Bitcoin that it doesn't really work. But there's the storage capacity. Sorry.
Is mining part of keeping up the blockchain? I mean, if you're recording every transaction and there's millions of transactions all the time, that requires a lot. Who is doing this? Who is recording all of this? How is this ledger being maintained?
You have to, okay, so first of all, you have to think of it as the number of blockchain transactions is actually dwarfed by the number of transactions in the financial system generally.
Sure, but it's not like 5 a day. It's like thousands a day.
Yeah.
Or millions a day.
So there are companies that are involved in this ecosystem. They're like regular companies that are not just crypto companies, but that are interested in getting onto the blockchain and using distributed ledgers for things. Those people are providing computing power and storage, and a lot of this also is taking place on the cloud. And if you are a blockchain provider, one of the things that you might do is you might have cloud computing resources that are dedicated to hosting different versions of your distributed ledger. So it really might all come back to, okay, well, actually all of this is on AWS.
Right.
So it's a problem that the industry is still working through, I think, but and I don't know if, I mean, who knows if anything is really going to be decentralized.
I have a blockchain maintenance company, or and Tez has a blockchain maintenance company. So Bitcoin pays us a little bit every month to keep up the ledger, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was trying to understand. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So while there's been this whole thing about, the blockchain, that all sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's incredible technology.
It does sound pretty good, but there's also this sort of bubble. There was a huge bubble around this, and then there was all the legal aspects of that bubble, which are huge. We saw Fort Gox go down. We saw the SBF thing. He's in jail now, and all this stuff. So what are the legal issues surrounding crypto? Because I gotta say that whenever I hear crypto, I just switch it for the word Beanie Babies. This is a thing that people are trading back and forth. They have assessed some value to it based on its trade value, not on its actual value, not intrinsic value, but just on its tradable value. And then ultimately they convert it into dollars when they're going to spend it anyway. So it feels to me like Beanie Babies, but I know that's not what you're going to tell me it is. So what is the legal, and I know this could be days. What are the sort of bullet point legal issues surrounding crypto currently?
Okay, so I want to go to the Beanie Babies point first.
Yeah.
Because in some ways it is. Okay, it's like it's a store of value, and it's worth whatever people say it's worth.
Sure.
What's $1 worth?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
I'm not buy for $1.
I'm not saying it's worthless.
But the dollar is a story that people believe in.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. They believe in that.
And some people believe in crypto. And the other thing is that it really actually can be useful for things like, okay, if you've got a country that has foreign exchange controls, well, can you use crypto to I hate to say get around those FX?
No, that's exactly the right thing. Yeah.
And things like remittances, is there a way to do that so that you don't have to pay $10 to Western Union every time you want to send something to your family?
Yeah.
So there are definitely legit uses, and there are reasons why people want to own this stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's like a share of stock. What's a share of stock worth? I mean, it's unlikely that Apple is going to liquidate and distribute all of its assets to its shareholders. So it's whatever people are willing to pay for it.
Sure.
So it is speculative. Anyway.
Good.
So
I wanted to make sure I was right about that at least anyway. So the value, people, when they talk about, this thing is up or this thing is down, it's the same as stocks. It's not real.
Jenny, is there a point though? Because I guess as I've watched this, it looks like it's like an asset almost. Is there a point where, and I think eventually we get there, where someone is buying, I go to Pizza Hut, I want to buy a pizza, I'm buying this.
You can already do that.
Yeah, but people are still buying them in dollars.
Well, it's converting to dollars.
Yeah, but when do we get to the point where it's all right, I am being able to, because as I think of currency, how I understand currency.
When national currencies get on the blockchain, then this happens.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, it's not possible.
Will national currencies get on that? Though?
No.
I don't think that you're ever going to see prices change from being denominated in Bitcoin. And the way that I think about that is, look, the rest of the world is on Celsius. The US is on Fahrenheit. We ain't changing.
We won 2 wars not to have to learn that French metric bullshit.
Oh, God. Anyway, can you talk through kind of I guess how the ETFs and the SEC approving that, as I understand it, how is that going to kind of change?
You didn't let her tell us the legal issues surrounding the crypto.
Oh, sorry.
You jumped ahead to alphabet soup.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm happy to talk about it. Okay. So the legal issues are, back when all this started, everybody was like, "Oh, it's on the blockchain. It's not subject to the laws." And the government was looking at that and what the hell? So you have people, and these things are speculative assets. And at least in the US, the idea is that if you're selling a speculative asset, you've got to make disclosures about that asset. And typically that asset is going to be stock in a company. But it's really hard to fit a cryptocurrency token into the same disclosures that you want to make for stock in a company. And so people have kind of said, well, we can't really do it. And so some people have taken the position that they're just like, well, we're just not going to abide by the rules at all. And so those people kind of operated in an area where they either could just make dumb mistakes, and because they didn't have regulators looking over their shoulder, those dumb mistakes piled up and drove them into bankruptcy. And that's like, you might have heard of Voyager or BlockFi. And then you've got people who were just like, I'm going to commit outright fraud, like Sam Bankman-Fried.
And Bankman-Fried.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's like, you don't need the blockchain to commit outright fraud. I watched the Bernie Madoff documentary.
Yes.
And that was crazy. The amount of work that guy went through to run his Ponzi scheme. Obviously, SBF didn't do as good a job as Madoff, but it's almost like if nobody's watching you, it's very easy to commit fraud. And I think the regulators kind of looked at this and were like, we don't want any part of this. So in the US, you basically got the Securities Exchange Commission saying, we don't want crypto to be sold to investors in the US. It's getting sold to mom and pop, regardless of whether the intentions of the developers or the people who were providing these services were good or bad. It's still too risky for mom and pop. You've got other countries that have taken a different approach and have basically said, like, look, this is a thing that we know is going to happen. People are going to get their hands on it. We're going to regulate it. We're going to come up with a regulatory regime that actually fits how it works so people can comply. But it's like, it's hard to look at these bankruptcy cases where I was involved with one of them, and you've got people calling into the court and saying and wanting to yell at the CEO of these companies and saying, I lost my entire life savings on your platform. So it's not an easy situation to deal with. No. I don't know that I think the regulators in the US have taken the exact right approach, but I can see the appeal of it.
Because I guess also too, I understand is like, as this is always sold, and right, I tell like the story, I guess we tell of like money and current, but the story initially was, hey, like deregulation, we don't want, like, that's the beauty of this, but I don't know how
fiat currency.
Yeah, but exactly. That's exactly. And I don't know, how do these two things coexist? I don't know how because if you
they coexist in that this speculative asset ultimately gets translated into fiat currency at the final step of the spend.
But I guess
the transaction.
To me, that doesn't seem to be why people were attracted
no,
to it in the beginning.
No, that's how it became a speculative asset as opposed to an actual currency.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of where my question gets to. Like, we're not really talking about currency. We're really talking about a speculative asset that people have turned into a thing that they can buy, sell, and trade, but it isn't currency.
Well, there actually are some things that people can use. If you've ever heard the word stablecoin, there are tokens out there that are designed to track the value of $1, and they're backed 1-for-1 by dollars, so you can always redeem it for $1. And so those things we actually do see. Okay, you're a brand new company, you haven't been able to open a bank account yet because it takes 3 weeks to open a bank account, and you want to get investments in. Okay, great. We'll send the investment in USDC, US dollar coins. So that's there is a way to use it, but it's not. I don't know how much it's accepted by like merchants at this point, but there are people who offer point of sale solutions so that a merchant can accept crypto if they want to.
Well, that I've noticed. But so one of the things that I see with this is that, you know, amongst the crypto bros that I know, right, there's sort of two key things. One is them showing you, look at this percentage increase. And it's like, here's 6/10,000ths of a dollar, and now it's worth 10/10,000ths of a dollar. And it's like, all right, well, it's a great percentage increase, but it's minuscule, you know. And you know, there's 900 different coins. There's new coins being generated all the time, although maybe less frequently now than there were. But there was, I mean, even Dogecoin was initially created as a joke, right? And then then people started taking it seriously. So like the speculative aspect of this is the Beanie Baby thing. People are buying and selling and trading these things, you know, just to have them, and they're pumped up by value based on how much people want them, but they're not based on what they can. You know, there's no backing. That's one side of it. And then the other thing that I hear the crypto bros is like constantly trying to convince people that this is real currency and not a speculative asset. But they're buying and selling it in dollars. And they're buying they're taking like $1,000 US. They're buying some sort of weird crypto, whatever, some name that is gone 3 weeks from now. And they're selling it for $1,500, so they're making a profit, and they're using that $500 to go to the Bahamas or whatever, and like they're playing this game where they're just buying and selling. It doesn't have to be crypto. It could be baseball cards. It could be Beanie Babies. It could be any Pogs, shit. Who cares? And they're just buying and selling an asset. It's not currency, but at the same time they're telling you, hey, this is going to replace currency. Why is that part of the sort of ethos of this whole thing?
That is a really good philosophical question, and I'm going to try to answer it. Okay. I think partially a lot of what's happening in what people call decentralized finance is people can do new and interesting and weird transactions that they couldn't do before. So that's really cool. On the other hand, I think a lot of the people who are kind of in this seriously are not just in it for weird DeFi stuff. They're in it because they want their technology to be adopted by the rest of the economy, whether that's financial institutions using blockchain for things, which we've got a lot of experimentation going on, or whether that's people tokenizing things like car titles or ownership of fine jewelry. It's like that I think is going to be the next big thing of like, okay, how do we use the blockchain to not only control these coins, but how do we use it to actually do things with assets in the real world, whether that's, you know, stock, which maybe isn't really a real world asset, or something else.
So
am I being boring, guys?
No, we're just like teeing up.
I could go on for the next.
We wrote 900 questions, Jenny, and we're trying to pick and choose which ones we can talk about.
Okay.
You know, our producer gets mad at us for being here till 3:30 in the morning. So,
you will not have me until 3:30 in the morning.
We understand.
I am happy to do a repeat though.
I want to sneak one. I know you have.
Go ahead,
because I have a lot of questions around this.
We could literally. Can we have you before you do it? Can we have you back on, like, you know, next month to talk about this some more?
I would be happy to. Yes.
Fantastic.
Because I want to ask, like, has there, like, right? We've seen a huge change in just like interest rates that get set by the Fed, right? And as I kind of understand it, that at low interest rates, there's a lot of ways you can get money. There's a way you can get money for very cheap. That has now changed. How does that? Because again, like this world still ties into like a federal regulated world. Like, have you seen any changes in the industry kind of
That's
as
a
the
great
rates
question.
have went up? Like, has that made any change?
Has it slowed down the speculation in crypto?
I think it's made, I think it's, I mean, it's slowed down speculative investment generally. I mean,
Right.
people look at the stock market and it's like, oh, it keeps going up and up and up. And it's like, yeah, but it's the averages are going up because there's like 5 artificial intelligence companies that are making it go up.
It's not.
There's been a slowdown in kind of everything as interest rates have gone up. I don't know that it's had an outsized impact on crypto though.
Well, I mean, that's kind of good, right?
Yeah,
if it mostly tracks the rest of the economy, then it means it's part of the rest of the economy.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it's wildly impacted by a quarter point one way or the other, then it's bullshit and you shouldn't go anywhere near it.
Yeah, that's exactly what
basically like the idea.
That's where I was at with. It's like, yo, okay, good. That's good to know.
Adjustable rate mortgages, anybody? All right.
I started my career doing mortgage-backed securities, so I can only do things that are going to destroy humanity.
Listen, if you tune in a little later, you're going to get to the marketplace segment of this show, which dovetails nicely with this.
Yeah.
You're listening to Fake Marketplace on APM. All right. So, are regulations coming, and what makes sense for this industry? Because obviously you're involved in helping to think about what regulations should make sense. We don't want Fort Gox happening again. We don't want Sammy running off with everybody's money again. So what does make sense here?
In the US, the regulatory environment is so messed up that it's on everybody. I mean, when are we going to get crypto legislation? We can't even get a budget. So
you must have been reading ahead.
I'm waiting for data privacy. I'm waiting for data privacy. Data privacy.
Marjorie says she doesn't care about your data privacy. She's showing nude pictures of Hunter Biden to people on the fucking camera. Your data privacy. Get out of town. Bruh. Okay, so what is coming down the pipe though? Because I mean, there's got to be something.
I think there's actually going to be pressure on the U.S. regulators because other jurisdictions are putting out regulations, and you are seeing companies that are based in the U.S. saying, okay, well, we're going to move a major part of our operations to London or to Germany because they actually have crypto regulation there. And so there's a way to do things that comply with law.
So
but interestingly enough,
the industry's mostly asking for regulations so they know what the rules are and they can just find a way to make money from those rules.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I think there is a path to regulation. The European Union recently passed legislation that is basically like, hey, here's how we're going to regulate crypto. If you're going to sell tokens, you need to make these disclosures. It can't just be a pump and dump thing. We're going to actually keep track of who's doing this. We're going to be policing it, but we're not going to be prohibiting it. But the really interesting thing in the US is something that you were talking about earlier, institutional adoption. And the exchange traded products are a big sign of that. That's how all of that went down is a really weird story. And I'm going to plug, we actually have a webcast coming up at Latham and Watkins about everything crypto, everything ETP related. So it's part of our, I think it's Window on Washington or something. I don't know. It's Washington Updates. Google Latham and Watkins, you will find it. And that it's a really weird confluence of events, but very basically, crypto is a speculative asset. If you're an investor that has a large portfolio, you want to have a diversified portfolio. and you're like, hey, maybe I should have some crypto in there. But if you're just a regular dude, even if you're a big investor dude, you might say, well, I don't want to buy this crypto myself and deal with all this private key stuff and everything else. I want to invest in something that was created by Fidelity or BlackRock that'll give me that kind of ability to put it in my portfolio through a regulated entity. And so these companies have been trying to get the SEC to approve these products for a really long time. The SEC approved a futures exchange traded product, but they didn't approve, and that was a couple years ago. So you could invest in a Bitcoin futures product, but you couldn't invest in a product that related to actual spot Bitcoin, which didn't really make a lot of sense. And one of the companies that was trying to offer these products actually took it to court, and the judge agreed and was like, this doesn't make any sense. They're basically the same thing. So in the end, the SEC did approve a spot exchange traded product. So that's the big news lately, is like, okay, the SEC is, and I think that is kind of part of the story of the regulators saying, okay, we like crypto, but we want it to be intermediated by these big financial institutions. We don't want regular Joe Smith down the block going to somebody like a Voyager that is going to lose all his crypto, or an SBF that is going to steal all his crypto. We want him to go to Fidelity.
So I mean,
down the blockchain.
Yeah, right. He's down the blockchain. He's out on the blockchain slinging crypto.
Mhm.
I'm out on the
There you go.
blockchain. So I mean, I get it, right? So if you want, like, in the same way you don't want any random Joe Schmo picking up, people's adjustable rate mortgages, why don't you wrap them all up into a security, and then you can just have it as an index that tracks that particular asset, and then it's fine. It'll all be fine. Everything will be fine here. And unless the Beanie Babies get unpopular and then people don't want them anymore, but that's their problem. They made a bet.
Yeah. Look, you made your bet.
You made a bet.
Well, and in these exchange traded products, you've got like the 500 pages of disclosure and risk factors out there, and the SEC likes that because they think that people are actually going to read that.
Yeah, I definitely read all 500 pages of everything.
Look, you know me. You know I do.
You do. You go to the goddamn library to find your missing 30 pages. It's like, this book is 800 pages. Wait a minute.
Short change.
Wait a minute.
I would have been really
170 pages. What the fuck is this?
Is it game? Look,
All right,
I could
so
talk about this for
we
the
could,
next
but
hour.
Jenny, we know it is a school night, so we have like just a couple more things.
Okay.
One, we want to issue a new coin called ChipCoin, and so what do we need to do to create a new coin called ChipCoin? Can I just announce it and start selling it to idiots on the internet?
No.
Oh, damn it!
I'm sorry.
Don't buy this thing. I already did.
That's my husband tells me that our dog is going to issue a coin called Bork.
Yes.
So yeah. Mhm.
So no. So, but if we do want to issue ChipCoin, will you help us create ChipCoin?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, great.
We actually do help people who want to issue tokens do it in a way that doesn't break the law. Basically.
I love that.
Well, we don't like breaking the law.
No, yeah.
Mhm.
But
what happened to
we
SBF.
do want to get people to buy our coin. We're gonna put Tez on it, and
Okay.
who's gonna know?
Yeah, look, someone will.
They
The
can't tell
blockchain
us
will.
apart, apparently.
All right.
All right. The other question, Jenny, we have is: are you ready to play Florida or not?
Florida or not?
Yeah.
She's like, "What the fuck is this?" But she's a lawyer, so she doesn't say, "What the fuck is this?"
Florida
she goes,
or not,
She
it's
goes,
where-
"Objection! What the fuck is
We're
this?"
talking crypto. We got to bring in Florida.
That's right.
Okay. Florida. Okay. All right, how do we do this?
So Jenny, the way this works is we're going to read you a story with the locational details removed, and you have to tell us whether this happened in Florida or not in Florida.
Okay.
Are you
All
ready?
All right, I'm ready.
All right, and after this, we'll give you a chance to plug your talks and books and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then leave because I know you're tired.
Then you're tired of us. All right, ready?
Yes.
An online pastor was charged with civil fraud for selling a cryptocurrency that regulators described as, quote, practically worthless. His explanation, God told him to do it, although it's possible that he, quote, misheard. Colorado security commissioners filed a legal complaint against Eligio Regalado, who goes by Ellie, and his wife, Caitlin Regalado. I don't know about that one. Last week, the couple raised nearly $3.2 million by targeting Denver's Christian community with the cryptocurrency marketed as index coin, the complaint said. Investigators accused the couple of violating. Oh, well, I already said. I fucked up.
You already said the state twice.
I didn't do the edit on this. You're supposed to write the edits on this. All right, well, it happened in Colorado. What's up with this index coin thing?
You win.
I won.
No, Jenny won.
Oh.
Yeah, you're the one. Yeah, you butchered this.
I read straight through it.
Yeah,
you didn't edit it.
I didn't. I was going to see if you made it all the way
until
you figured out that you did not edit out.
No, I didn't. I do all the work for this show, but I also have a regular job. All right. So what's up with this index coin, Jenny? Did this happen in Florida or Colorado, apparently?
It did not happen in Florida.
No, good job. You won.
All right.
Did this crack the crypto discussion boards or whatever?
I did hear about it.
Okay.
I mean, there was a time in like December of 2022 where I would turn on my computer every day and be like, what the fuck is going to happen today? So, and amazingly, but I mean, scammers going to scam.
Yeah.
It's real.
I bought several fake Beanie Babies.
Fake ones.
No, I didn't. I'm just.
That's really scary.
Just kidding. All right, good job for winning Florida or not. That I totally wrecked. I feel good about that.
I can't wait to listen. This is
really good. Yo, it's 9 years. This is 9 years I've been doing this show every week, and this is the first time I got that wrong.
That's crazy.
And it's because I didn't have time to edit it.
Yeah, no.
But that happens.
That's okay.
Okay.
I actually knew about that before. So
I figured you knew.
I was like, no way you get that wrong.
I picked the story on purpose because I thought she was going to know. I listen to Wait every week. I know how to do this.
Right.
Want to give them a fighting chance.
Yeah, you get the same chance, all right, to provide the answer.
You did.
Look, Peter Sagal, call me if you ever need a guest host.
You're the back of the math book.
Only the odd questions.
Only the odd questions. That's all you got.
Just to let you know if you're close. Everybody got a 50.
Oh, God.
All right. Jenny, where can people follow you and get your talks? And you've got an actual virtual seminar coming up that people can sign up to listen to and all that stuff.
Yeah, we're doing actually a live webcast, which is very unusual for me.
You're on a live webcast now.
Yes, to talk about the SEC Bitcoin ETP approval. You can go to lw.com and find it. Latham was apparently one of the first firms to get a web address. And
yeah, right. LW was available.
That's early on.
Yeah, exactly.
Early on in Web 1.0.
I got that in 1991.
Yeah.
Al Gore himself gave it to you.
Oh, God. That's insane.
That's a really inside internet joke. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
That's it. I mean, look, I'm on Twitter or X or whatever, but I don't use it very often. So it's first name, last name.
All right, we're gonna post links. The talk is when's the talk? What day is it?
Talk is Tuesday the 6th.
Tuesday the 6th. All right, we'll get all the links out beforehand. Brian, get the clips ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll have all the clips out and we'll send links and we'll share them around. You can share them and do all the things with your Dogecoin and all that stuff. Whatever.
Super.
Make sure you have that background when you do the talk though, because that's going to be really important.
Yes.
We actually have really cool Latham branded backgrounds, but I couldn't figure out how to use it for this, so I thought
That's
this
okay.
Yeah,
we like this one a lot better. Yeah, it's absolutely the best.
Yeah.
All right, Jenny, we know it's a school night, and we definitely kept you well past the time that we agreed to. So thank you for tolerating us. We had a really good time. We will catch you on the flip side. We will definitely have you back to talk about lots more stuff. Tez has lots of questions.
Yeah, live from Colorado.
I would be happy to come back.
I'm so proud / ashamed of myself for that one.
Good radio.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It's so good. Jenny, thank
All right,
you
thanks,
so much.
Jenny. We're going to take a break. You've been listening to ChipChat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
I'm your host, Tommy Designer, and you're tuned into OTPHJ Triple XM Radio. Let's get a vibe going. Someone pass me the imaginary blunt. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Better know the AKA. Automatic mouth like the AK spray. Tommy D, what a G, no JK. Make hay while the sun shines, no vacay. Better know the AKA. Automatic mouth like the AK spray. Tommy D, what a G, no JK. Make hay while the sun shines, no vacay.
The king is back in his plaque in his bathroom. He can rap backwards on some bat boom. If you have to face the babyface assassin, maybe take an aspirin. Sucks, I got the vacuum lungs. Fuck, gravity snuck and with levity bucked. Non-believers and achieve longevity cleaved a weird lane in the game too treacherous. For biters to travel, I remain true, effortless. Well, doing a handstand and ordering drive-through air, rapping for San Fran. Not gonna hear that I'm too proud of my damn self. Look at every year that I grew, and I'm proud of my trans fans that grow better beards than I do still. The rhyme factory, the haiku mill, your wife who will at some point like to chill with the Will Smith, who's not Will Smith in any way. Any gray hairs, I'm a huge balls you can check, bouncing on the deck. I'm a U-Haul trailer hitched to my chromed out butt plug, cut from the pants of my tux by my A+ tailor for the nights that I step out just to stun on the haters.
Better know the AKA. Automatic mouth like the AK spray. Tommy D, what a G, no JK. Make hay while the sun shines, no vacay.
I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, succubus with goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. Dump it. Charging into a goblin's nest, some goblin vomit and slop and blood on it, especially up to his ankles. Trump charging into a goblin's nest, some goblin vomit and slop. Goblin vomit and slop. I'm not expecting him to not get dirty slop. Kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, succubus with goblins, in bed with a goblin. Kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins. I just want to catch him in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin. I just want to catch him in bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin.
Welcome back to ChipChat here on Beltway Radio and beyond.
That last 5-10 seconds is insane. What's happening?
Who are you, Tez?
You just told him. Oh my God.
That was crazy.
Just like you gave the answer to.
Yeah. So if you were listening
Exactly,
to our last
yeah.
segment, shout out to Jenny Cieplak. She was amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Yeah.
We're gonna send everybody to go listen to your talk. I fucked up on Florida or not.
That's insane.
It's gonna happen. It was bound to happen eventually.
I mean, look, you're doing a lot, man. I'm doing not a lot.
Yeah, that's
Are you
true.
dancing to the goblins?
I'm not in bed with the
I
goblins.
was Brian.
Brian dancing to the goblins. Yeah.
That's a good
Ben-
song. That's
Ben-
one of my.
Ben-
I like that one better than the other.
You like that one better than Leftist Ass?
Yeah.
No, that is
I don't know. I just like the beat.
First ballot.
Yeah,
Hall of
Leftist
Fame.
Ass is funky.
Yo,
Yo.
it's just the best one. That
Also,
is the best one.
the Turbo Force. I really do like the Turbo
Yeah,
Force.
Turbo Force
That's
is
fun.
good.
That's funky too.
We probably shouldn't platform this guy.
No, well, we're not platforming him. We're platforming people who make fun of him.
Yes. There you go.
Speaking of which, we made a conscious choice not to play the video of Ben Shapiro rapping tonight.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that we had created a segment for it, which might show up later in the show if we do decide to platform him, called the wackest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Only for running on time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've got plenty of time. All right. This segment is called Right Wing Rundown.
Hey.
Hey!
Yay!
This is where I tell you about some right-wing stuff that's going on in the news.
Now we can get some
If
listeners.
we were professionals, it would sound like this.
What the fuck,
No, that's what it already sounds like. All right. Well, if we were real professionals, we'd get right to the story.
From Beltway Radio and beyond in Washington, D.C., I'm J. Scott Smith. And this is the part of the hour where I tell you some stuff that's going on in the news.
Right wing.
All right. So here's a couple of things.
Yeah.
The House voted under suspension of the rules to expand the child tax credit after a lot of the stuff was already printed at the IRS, by the way. But don't worry, they've got all kinds of extra money from the Inflation Reduction Act that they can go ahead and reprint all that stuff.
Yeah.
They've recovered $230 million in extra money that was owed in back taxes in the first week of having all of these extra employees and new scanners. Shocking. Remember how the Party of Fiscal Responsibility hates it when the taxes get collected? That? The Democrats. All right. So this was passed under suspension of the rules. MAGA Mike did this with the help of Speaker Hakeem Jeffries.
Yes.
And 46 Republicans voted against it, including Good and Marjorie and all of them. And they're all like, that's it. We're going to fucking vacate this guy. Great. Please keep doing not governance. The government's about to shut down in 5 minutes.
Great in the election.
Cool. You go right ahead and do that.
Somebody gets so trounced.
Republicans.
They're going to get trounced in the House. It's
yeah.
insane.
Good.
Yeah.
Just don't. We know they listen to the show, so keep it up, eh? Also, immigration, right? So the Senate, so that was on the House side.
Yeah.
The Senate side was like, oh, we got this great deal. We're going to expand. Right now, the president can't shut down the border. I know that Republicans think this is a possibility.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. There's legal rules. There's treaty obligations. There's things that you have to do if you're a country with a border that touches another country, which I know the Republicans not big on touching other countries. Especially the brown ones.
Yeah.
So all of that is to say that like Biden was like, all right, guys, give me the authority. Here's what I want. And the Senate was like, yeah, definitely in on this. We're going to do it. And then the orange guy was like, no, don't give him a win. Vote against it. And they're all like, but this is the thing that you wanted us to do. And he's like, not anymore. I don't. Which proves this thing that I've been saying. They don't have policy. They only have fealty to this guy.
Yeah, even our friend from Kentucky, the turtle. Yeah.
Mitch, Cocaine Mitch was like, nah.
Doesn't seem.
Remember that thing that I negotiated and it has my name on it? Don't vote for that.
Doesn't seem possible. It's the nominee.
You're getting there.
I'm gonna get there. So
You're gonna get there.
I don't know when I'm gonna get there.
Yeah, you gotta get the.
I don't want to start making fun of other type of things that.
He's got a vocal fry.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you don't have to do the pause.
Popcorn on the cob.
Right?
I'm ready.
But that's not what we want to talk about. What we are here to talk about is the psyops that is being run by Taylor Swift and maybe Beyonce. I don't know. Okay, so
This is crazy.
Here's what's happening in the
Why
real
do they
world.
hustle backwards like this? Are they mad? They're
Yes,
mad in the head. They
they've
don't know what
gone
they're doing.
like loco. Okay, they don't like that word. Sorry, they've gone mental.
Be careful. There you go.
They're okay.
Every house, that's how we get shootings in this country.
Kermit has only been in the league for 6 years. It's hard to remember that.
I do a great job of throwing the ball back.
That's right. And in every one of those 6 years, he's been in the AFC Championship.
Just blessed.
Mark Sanchez started his first 2 years and went to the AFC Championship.
That's when the Jets thought they were really
going
to do something.
You know,
I remember that.
But that was 2 years, and then they flamed out. The Kansas City Chiefs, with Andy Reid, minus a fast lad, have been able to be successful, shockingly, over and over again. They've got a great team. They've got great personnel. They've got great coaching. Everything about them is good. They're also in a cupcake division at the moment, so it's an easy path to the playoffs, right? Although once Harbaugh gets there, San Diego might be able to, make it a little tougher. Okay. Putting my stuff aside.
Yeah, of course.
That's like, it is a given that Kansas City is a contender for the Super Bowl. And if you'd have bet that back in September, nobody would have given you any odds.
They have like, Michael Jordan on their team.
Yeah, and everybody else is got like at best a Horace Grant. Like they're not at that
this
level.
This version of them is exactly that.
Yeah. All right. So that's stipulation number one. Stipulation number two, Taylor Swift is the biggest star in pop music currently in the entire fucking world. She's selling out concerts in countries that most people haven't even heard of.
Yeah.
Like Uzbekistan. That guy's dead.
Yeah.
He's dead. Way to go, COVID. Okay. So then like the pretty country star is going out with the superstar tight end of the Super Bowl bound Kansas City Chiefs. Both of them are white.
This goes back to my original point about where everything gets crazy in this country.
This is the best story in Republican politics since Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Here's this wholesome country girl from Reading, Pennsylvania, meets the tight end superstar football player, the best American sport there is.
He's from Ohio. Isn't he from Ohio?
Is he? Yeah, it might be. I don't know. The Kelseys are from Ohio.
They
It
Ohio.
could be. That's iffy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's what I was like,
he's a good Midwestern, corn-fed American white guy, and they love each other, and she's great at being a musician, and he's great at being a football player, and they're just, the stars are aligned, and it's everything. It's the most American story you could possibly hope for. However, on Fox News, the story is Taylor Swift is controlling the outcome of the NFL playoffs to make sure that she and Travis are in the his name is Travis. It doesn't get more Republican than Travis.
Doesn't.
That they're in the Super Bowl so that after they win it, she can endorse Joe Biden and make all the Swifties vote for him. And
I hope so.
Okay.
This is
how many ways is this stupid? The answer is all of them.
Every way. And I'm obviously a huge Patrick Mahomes fan. And
who is not?
Some people don't. Yeah, that guy over there in the back, which I get it,
Because he beat Lamar.
Well, I mean, look,
he's a better version of
the
Lamar.
Ravens beat themselves.
That's true.
Taunting.
Yeah. We don't have time. Keep it moving.
Go ahead. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
I'm sure you'll talk about that on.
The next No Filter Sports is featuring both of us.
Oh God, yeah, because I'd love to.
We're just gonna berate him.
Yeah, I would love to talk.
We're gonna taunt him.
All right,
with the flower.
They should be quiet. If the Republicans are smart, they should be quiet, because I think where we should look at this story is not right now. We should look back. Maybe into 2018, and when she actually does a lot of like voter registration
She did that one time and got 35 million people registered or whatever.
That's where you should be careful.
Should have been careful
because you might have baked the election in with this because especially with Biden on the youth vote. I think of which is a lot of reasons why the young don't rock with that guy. And I get it. I understand. It's kind of crazy. It's
but the Swifties could move that needle
easily, and I think it's an easy move.
And if you piss them off, they're just even more motivated to do it.
They don't even care about Biden getting in.
No,
they're pissed off. It's like a fuck you.
Yeah,
of 2 middle fingers.
But they're not just pissed off because you told them that they're wrong for supporting her in having a boyfriend who plays football. Which I gotta say, it's like, okay, Republicans, let's cast your memory back to when she was singing country music. I own her first 2 records, which she doesn't, like anymore, so she's re-recorded them. I'm gonna rebuy them.
Oh, you get it.
Yeah, but they're country records, and I like country music. And she's got this whole line about, that she's pining after this guy on the football team. But she wears short skirts. I wear t-shirts. She's cheer captain, and I'm on the bleachers. Like, she's been there the whole time. And she's got the guy. This is your success story. And instead, you're like, nah. She came out several years ago and said that, this anti-Roe position of the Republican Party was detrimental and dangerous to women. This reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act really pissed her off because she's got lots of stalkers and all this kind of thing. There's AI porn of Taylor Swift out there. It's not just a fuck you because you told us not to do it. These are legitimate issues that her fans do in fact care about, regardless of whether she tells them or not. And this idea that women can't make decisions unless their dear leader tells them to do so. Remember when Oprah controlled all the women of America?
Yeah.
Now Beyonce controlled all the women of America. Now it's Taylor that controls. Women can think for themselves. It's shocking to believe that, but it turns out they can read, they can write,
and they can vote.
They can vote now. They just got that.
It's not too. Again, look,
less than 100 years ago. It's really close.
Yeah.
So that should worry them, and they have so many opportunities to just say nothing.
Because again, where do we think that Trump loses in this election? Say that he loses again with women.
Suburban women
is where
suburban white women.
Yeah. And
who buys Taylor Swift records?
Suburban white women. That's where it is.
I live with several of them.
It's really kind of crazy. I don't it's not smart politics.
It's bad.
It's bad politics.
You want to win is not the way to do it. But also, here's again this thing where if you just did nothing.
That's the thing. You make it because I don't know where, just in sheer numbers, they think that their base can drive them to wins.
It isn't there, but also, it's really weird. Here's this thing from Vivek.
Yeah, his is crazy. Yeah.
I wonder who's going to win the Super Bowl next month, Vivek said. And I wonder if there's a major presidential endorsement coming from an artificially, culturally propped up couple this fall. Just some wild speculation over here. Let's see how it ages over the next 8 months.
First of all, by you saying that, I hope
they're 100% going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what the right calls Kelsey? They call him Mr. Pfizer.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the ad telling people to get vaccinated.
What's the name called them that?
Bartiromo or Rogers called him that.
And they said he wanted to debate him and Fauci because now we're in the fucking weird ass fucking Twilight Zone with that fucking guy.
Aaron Rodgers wants to debate people?
Yeah. That guy.
Specifically Fauci?
Bro, get some like that. That's so 2020. Like,
Also,
why are we still on that? Like, what are we doing?
Okay.
Why are we still even talking about that?
Can I back up and just give it a helpful piece of advice to Mr. Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
As somebody who is married to somebody from an outer borough, just as a general piece of advice, you do not want to get in any kind of altercation, verbal or otherwise, with outer borough folks. They're not like the rest of this country, okay? If Fauci and you got on a debate stage, it would end poorly. It'd be a roast before you knew it was a roast, and you wouldn't have agreed to it. That's what that's going to be. So just gracefully slink back into your injury and, pretending that you're caring about the Jets and just drift off back to California or wherever you go. Just nope. Do not get in a cut fight with anybody from an outer borough. That's just what I'm saying. Wu-Tang for the children.
Right.
Okay. Remember how there's a lot of people who think that our fair city, the District of Columbia, is like a drug-infested shithole?
Yeah.
I think that was the word that they used. I found all the drugs. Turns out Dr. Ronnie was giving them out. Here's a interesting quote from the Defense Department's IG report about this. Quote, we found that the White House Medical Unit provided a wide range of healthcare and pharmaceutical services to ineligible White House staff in violation of federal law and regulation and DoD policy. Additionally, the White House Medical Unit dispensed prescription medications, including controlled substances, to ineligible White House staff. So here's this thing. The Defense Department's Inspector General did a deep dive on what was going on this White House Medical Unit, which let's be clear about this. This is part of the Defense Department. It's not really under the purview of the Pentagon. It's not a huge thing. They only serve like 100 people at the most. It's a really small deal. It's basically like the nurse's office in the White House.
Yeah.
Okay. They were doing things like giving people opioids, giving people all kinds of stimulants, elective surgeries. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. It's all detailed in this IG's report. And some of the people, a lot of the people who they provided these services to, including the drugs and surgeries, were not eligible, meaning that they were not actual staff in the White House. They were friends of, or they were, lobbyists or God knows who. And this went on for several years from 2018 to 2020. It's bad, right? And Dr. Ronnie was in charge of the Candyman.
Yeah.
He was in charge. Okay. So here's where I want to remind everybody. Yeah. He was Michelle and I's doctor too. And for like 8 years. It was fine. So he was a capable doctor.
Yeah.
And then Trump came and he was like, who wants some pills? Who wants a nose job? We're doing nose jobs.
I mean, doesn't who occupies that office kind of dictate, I think, when you talk about trickle down and ethics just alone, certain shit you're not going to try in certain areas. I think we see that, you can see it in any workplace.
Of course.
Depending on who the fuck the fucking boss is, fucking people do what the fuck they want.
Look, whoever owns this network lets us run roughshod over this place. We do all kinds of fucking things.
I show up 5 minutes before the show starts.
Yeah, you don't even try anymore. Nobody comes down on you for that.
As much as I read, I don't
We give you so many extra drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
You've had 6 elective surgeries on air. I mean, it's like whatever.
Free for all.
So this report comes out. It's really scathing.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
A lot of people are talking about it, and they're like, "Oh shit, look at all what's going on." However, over on Fox News, since this is Republican Rundown, they're talking about how they think that the report was redacted and the word 2014 was scratched out and replaced with 2019. Because in Fox News world, this was happening during the Obama administration. Yes, and didn't happen during the Trump administration.
Come on.
Rather than go, oh shit, well, that's pretty bad. Well, at least it wasn't me, and just distance themselves from. No, they're like, no, they're making this up.
Taylor Swift shit all over again. They keep doing it.
It's like, if they just did less.
That's why they're gonna lose. Like, I know people are afraid, but like
I'm afraid.
Yeah, but more and more stories keep coming out, and it's just like clear as day.
Their ineptitude is our only savior.
Again,
because their intention is there.
There's like 30% of folks, and that doesn't win elections. It's not going to win elections.
It turns out about 1/5 of voters overall think that Trump is unfit to serve. And that's enough to swing.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. The question is, are they in Michigan? Are they in Georgia? Are they in Arizona? Are they in Wisconsin?
It has to be. The turnout has to be insane. You lose every, like, that is the one piece.
We keep
Taylor
saying
Swift,
it,
help us.
We keep saying it over and over. Like, this is the thing that this is an existential election.
Vote or die.
Yeah. That's MTV.
Yeah.
Vote or die. But this time we mean it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're black, brown, female, LGBTQ, not a white Christian man.
No.
If you're that, you can vote however you want.
Safe either.
Certain kinds of white folks.
There's different types. Heather Heyer.
Yeah. It's true.
I'm just saying.
But she was friends with, those
whiteness won't save you in certain situations.
Not if you get run over by another white person.
Crazy.
Right. All right, you ready for Tez Talk / Chip Marketplace?
This is a very interesting.
Look at these dead ass birds. Right. All right.
Birds ain't flying. They ain't flying to work.
So it's been basically a year since return to work. Heavy air quotes on return to work. A lot of people will tell you over and over, oh, well, we need to, be back in the office. There's increased productivity. People meet at the water cooler. They chat. There's all kinds of buzz going on and all that stuff. And you and I have been saying for a couple of years now, show me the numbers. Show me where this actually improves the bottom line. Well, a guy in Pittsburgh, which university is he at? Is he Carnegie? University of Pittsburgh. Mark Ma. He's an associate professor of business administration. He ran the numbers. Answer is no. It does nothing. Does nothing for the bottom line.
We just got the productivity report that came out. Like we see productivity increasing in the country.
Yes.
With hybrid work. With hybrid work.
Yes. So Moss research indicates that requiring employees to go back to the office has not been helping big companies make more money. However, it did uncover something else interesting in this. What type of CEO is requiring people to come back to work?
The bankers, right?
Not just bankers. What about these particular CEOs do they have in common?
Oh, white?
Almost all of them, but also they're all what else?
Men.
Yes.
Oh, we could have that conversation. I tell people all, one, if you have kids, like, you don't want to work for a white man. I tell you that is just hustling backwards at that point.
So okay. So these companies are requiring people to come back to work, and they're seeing no benefit for it whatsoever. They're still paying the real estate and operating costs to keep those buildings open. And I'm somebody who works in facilities, so it's against my interest for these places.
I think if there's any type of bubble that will destroy us all, it could be this fucking real estate bubble. Like, you have to figure that out.
Well, convert them all to apartments.
Yes.
We have a housing shortage. We got all these buildings that are unoccupied. Build them into apartments. Yeah. Construction boom, lots of jobs, and then lots of housing afterwards. Lots of maintenance
I'm
jobs.
talking about like the federal government should get involved.
Oh, absolutely. No, GSA's got to get out of a lot of. They've got all these 1/3 occupied offices.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Okay, so the argument does not hold. There's no math that shows that forcing people to come back to the office as opposed to doing their work from home benefits the bottom line. Not in increased productivity, not in increased ideas, not in increased innovation, not in increased workplace culture. None of it.
People work more when they are from home.
That's
in general, like, it just happens. Like, that alone.
Because it's easy and it fits into their lives.
Yeah, they're going to do more work.
Yeah. Think about the things you do for your house, for your household, that are not your job.
Yeah.
And think about how you fit them into your life and how very, very well you fit them into your life. You're like super productive. My weekends, especially when sometimes my kids aren't home, my wife takes them out for something or whatever. I am like dynamite productive.
Right.
I do all the laundry, all the dishes, clean the floors, house is vacuum. And I'm drinking beer while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And everything is done.
Yeah.
Imagine that 7 days a week. Why are we not doing that?
I do think
Mike Bloomberg seems to think there's no way we could pay people to work from home and get the same level of productivity out of them.
But again, we just got productivity numbers that have come out of like this country, and it's at a high that people haven't seen in a long time. So, and also here's the other issue as well too. Organizations have to make it worth it for people to come in there. And if you want people to come in the office, I think hybrid is the only, it's good.
Hybrid's the right solution.
Hybrid's the right solution, but then also the office has to change. It has to meet this hybrid.
We don't need foosball tables.
No.
Good cafeteria helps.
Yeah. And
then,
maybe it is like, hey, we come in whatever one day to do this. And like you schedule everything around that day. And like, all right, we give people, hey, these are the marching orders for the week. Or hey, we're doing a check-in in the middle of the week. And but again, you have to get creative, you have to get innovative on how you structure the office.
From a business perspective, you don't want to maintain real estate that you don't need.
Right.
So if you can pass that cost off to the worker, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's up to them to set up their home office. It's up to them to heat their home office.
Yeah.
It's up to them to provide the internet for their home office.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that.
They definitely don't.
No, they give me like $50 a month or whatever, and that's your internet fee or whatever.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's like, why are you keeping these expensive buildings in operation? However, we do have a housing shortage in this country, so those buildings can easily be converted.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot that goes into converting those, but I feel like
creates jobs.
Creates jobs, exactly. But
it builds housing.
The federal government has to step in there to like make that.
No,
easier.
Developers can make money on that hand over fist.
But they need incentives to do that, and they're not going to see the incentive on their own. Because my thing is, if you don't figure it out, you will have a commercial real estate burst of that bubble, and now we're all fucked. Like if you don't address, because that's going to happen,
then the market will fix it. They'll turn them into apartments.
Too
it's
late.
already happening.
But we don't have to feel that. I don't think
you shouldn't have to feel the shock.
The shock of that. Like there are these downtown areas where people aren't going to these restaurants. You know how people go to the restaurants, they go to the coffee shops. People live in these places the same way that people work in these places and they went there. Again, these shits are on top of metros. It even makes more sense. Like there are a lot. I think of a place like McPherson Square.
Right.
Like
McPherson Square is a great example.
That's
it's a ghost town after 5 o'clock.
Yeah. There's already a park there. You're fucking homeless people out there, which is a whole different fucking story there. But like a lot of other things you need, you could build around this. Like it should be possible.
Tez for mayor.
Oh, fuck that.
And challenge Muriel.
There's no way that she can run again.
She can.
No, she's under 3. She's
mayor for life. We've had one of those. Yeah, I'm another one. All right, moving on. This one's called Elon Sucks. I think Brian put this in. A Delaware judge ruled Tuesday.
This is wild. Yeah.
That Elon must give up his 2018 bonus. It's worth $55.8 billion. Because it wasn't negotiated fairly.
Obviously.
Well, no shit. All right, Brian, you have thoughts on this, or you just wanted to hear us talk about it?
My thing was, I felt like, as you were talking about the buildings and mentioned the fact of businesses, CEOs and presidents were wanting their people to come back. And this, I felt like, this is a perfect example why most Americans the workforce Americans are getting sick and tired of seeing CEOs getting big bonuses for things they barely do. And I mean, he's just a figurehead. He's been a known figurehead for this company for a long time. And I felt like him getting a bonus like that makes no sense. And that most of that money could be distributed to the actual people who actually work. And no, he's collecting this shit. And you get kind of sick and tired of that crap.
Well, not only that, but he can kind of manipulate the stock price by saying things.
And that's pretty much what that was the story. That was the story mentioned in the story is like he was altering how the price of Tesla, was around that time. And I felt like, what? By doing what? He didn't create this shit.
He tweeted.
That was a lot of work.
Tweeting is a lot of work.
It's also crazy as well, too, that the only reason that this company is successful is because of what the government was able to do for them. And like,
I mean, granted, they're selling some cars at a loss.
Yes.
They're willing to
the only way that they can drop prices the way they did is based on having that total dominance of the market, which I think is only created by the government. The government, and all his aspects.
Because the charging infrastructure is all there. But like what Elon is doing is he's willing. He wants an electrified vehicle fleet, whether it's his or otherwise. And I agree with him. I want that too. Okay. Despite the fact that I love my 84 Monte Carlo. Okay. But like, I can't afford to drive it. So like, I get it. But also like, he's a shithead. If he was less of a shithead, again, if he did nothing.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter if he was like, manipulating markets and getting paid $60 billion for the stock improving in value or whatever.
If people like you, they'll let
you go, man.
Slide. No one.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Yeah, no one cares. Like
Elon's a dick. I think that's the name of the segment.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Elon sucks. Sorry, I was close.
No, same.
Elon sucks dick.
There you go. Oh, whoa.
Thank you, Brian.
Reckless speculation.
Reckless speculation. He's South African, Brian. That's a different word. All right. Okay. This segment is called Sky High Chip.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
This first segment is called This Makes Chip Sad. Okay, so a lot of people probably know that I love space stuff.
Yes.
This is the Chip Chat in space.
Yes.
One of my favorite things in space is the little helicopter on Mars. Her name's Jenny.
Yeah.
Ingenuity, officially. She rode up on Perseverance.
Yep.
It's the rover. Percy's still running, doing great. So is Curiosity. Spirit and Opportunity finally are resting at their final locations. They're still sending a little bit of data. But anyway, so the whole idea of Ingenuity was like a proof of concept.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of science to be gained by flying a helicopter on Mars. But the question is, can we fly a helicopter on Mars? Because if we can, there is a lot of science to be gained. So the idea was we're going to pack this little helicopter on the back of this rover, and we're hoping it's going to fly 5 times after it deploys. And, get a little video, get a little camera footage. We're just going to see what it does. The Martian atmosphere is 1% of the Earth's atmosphere. So the rotor blades on this thing have to spin almost 3,000 times per minute. It's way faster than any helicopter you've ever seen. Yeah. So that in and of itself is a technological marvel. So she was scheduled to fly 5 times. And the idea was if we had a helicopter that worked, we could use it as a scout to go look for interesting rocks that we wanted to send the rover over to get good samples.
Yeah, partnership between two technologies.
Yeah, it's like a spotter.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So they land. and Jenny flies.
Yeah.
It works. We see footage of the first flights in 2021. It's remarkable.
It's insane.
It's like it's only 18 seconds long, but this is a human-built machine flying on another fucking planet.
It's insane.
That is an insane thing. It's an American-built machine flying on another fucking planet, just to be clear about that.
Build back better.
Yeah, goddamn right. It's amazing. And then she flies 67 more times.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ingenuity finished 72 flights.
Yeah,
Logged more than 2 hours. 2 hours in
One
the
of the
air.
craziest feats done by NASA.
Solar powered.
Yeah.
And scouting around looking for stuff for Percy for Percy to go take a look at and all that stuff. The distance flown, remarkable. It's a brilliant achievement of science.
Yeah.
But it gets better. It gets even better. You may remember two brothers, unfortunately from Ohio, who flew the first powered flight in North Carolina in 1903. Do you remember them?
Yes.
Orville and Wilbur?
They were right.
Correct. A tiny swatch of the Wright Flyer,
Yeah.
which resides here with us
Yeah.
at the Air and Space Museum, was built into the body of Ingenuity and carried up there. So the Wrights have flown on 2 planets. Humans have flown on 2 planets.
But I mean, that makes sense because again, all this shit kind of isn't really possible without.
This is what government can do.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, right, brother.
NASA did this.
NASA did this, yeah.
Look,
the fact that it came out and went up in the air the first
did it
time,
work at all?
That's enough for me.
Did it work
72
67 extra
is
times?
Insane.
One of the rotor blades eventually got a little too chipped at the end. So they had to set her down and just let her be. I've got a model of it on my desk. I love this little helicopter. I'm sad that she's done, but man, am I proud.
But think about what comes next after that. What
Right?
this is unlocked.
Look at what this has proved.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of the people who worked on this and what they achieved.
Even the ones from Ohio.
Even the ones from Ohio. Yeah. So that makes me a little sad.
All right, let's lift the spirits.
This story is called This Makes Chip Happy. You may have noticed that I'm wearing this shirt tonight.
Yes.
This is a
HTS.
HTS, Home Team Sports.
Yep.
Yeah. Goes with this hat. This is a nice, this is a vintage
oil hat.
I think I've had this since maybe 1997 or something like that, when you were 5. It's an Orioles hat.
Yes.
You're wearing what is that?
Senators.
Nationals? Senators?
Senators, yeah.
It's one of those teams. So for basically most of my life, while I love the Orioles, the owner of the Orioles has not loved me back.
No.
That's not to say that he hasn't tried. He's just a little tight with the money.
Stingy.
Stingy. Stingy's the right word.
Stingy.
Stingy Goombad.
He let Moose walk.
Yes, he's there.
Definitely
let him. So, and where he walked too.
Yeah, to the Yankees.
Crazy.
And then he fired John Miller for saying something that was perfectly honest, which is that this team doesn't, spend the money to keep the talent that they develop.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't forget, he's even suspended another announcer by calling him out how poorly they were playing.
That's right. So the Angelos family has not been good to the Orioles, despite presiding over several good runs.
Yeah.
I mean, the mid-90s was solid.
Yeah.
The steroid era was great for the Orioles.
Shout out Brady Anderson.
And Raffy and... Okay. We're still paying Bobby Bowe, by the way, till 2028. However, we learned this week that the Panda Man himself, Mr. Rubenstein, is saving the Orioles. So he's a Baltimore native. He happens to be another member of the Carlisle group.
They're just winning every,
which includes Uncle Teddy and yep, Governor Glenn, and the Capitals and Wizards deal and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, but Rubenstein he's a good guy, right? He saved Shakespeare in Washington. He built the panda habitat. He's done a million great things with his money. He made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And he's been working on how to give it away. And there is no better way to give your money away than to pour it into a flailing franchise like the Baltimore Orioles.
Already got their lease on their stadium deal too.
Got the new lease on the stadium, another 30
they
years.
Told everybody that the Angelos weren't going anywhere, which is kind of a funny thing. It's interesting.
Look, Camden's a 100-year park.
Yeah, I mean,
people are going to talk about Camden the way we talk about Fenway or Wrigley. It's just going to be part of baseball for 100 years, 150 years. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. When was Fenway built?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And some of your people were building it without having a choice.
The day the Titanic sank.
Yeah, before the Titanic sank.
Way before then.
So that's what I'm talking about. Like Camden Yards is that kind of a stadium. It's not Candlestick.
Fair. People in Baltimore are gonna hate this.
Go ahead.
I wonder, don't you need this? Don't you need the city to drive that around it? Like, I don't see it as
that's why it's there.
Boston is different than Baltimore.
Of course it is.
In regards to baseball?
No. In regards to like the city itself,
Camden is the anchor of that neighborhood.
I know. I get that. I still think the neighborhood, though, like as the Baltimore itself, it's not the Baltimore of a fucking 100 years ago or 50 years ago. It's a different town than a place like Boston. I digress.
All right, I get where you're trying to say. I get what you're saying, and especially after what happened several years ago, where you know about the riot.
Right.
So I understand that aspect, but still, it's like that is the gem of pretty much Baltimore sports in general.
You got Camden, you got M&T, you got the convention center, you got Inner Harbor, and then you've got where the Bullets used to play.
Yeah.
Where we saw Kiss for their last show. Like that is the place, the aquarium.
That is it.
It's the gem of Baltimore.
But I feel like for Camden Yard, I think with Rubenstein coming in, I think getting that settled, meaning the Orioles to stay there.
Yeah, that's done.
Was the real good jolt for him to say, all right, let me close. Let me save my team for good. Because the way I see Angelos was his sons, I really felt like if they were still in control, it was fearful they would go to Tennessee.
John Angelos was just looking for the paycheck.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
Yeah.
Look, good on David for buying the team and doing the right thing. If I had billions of dollars like that, would I buy my hometown team even if it lost money? 100%.
And have Cal Ripken be part of the group?
Cal's part of the ownership group.
Yeah, it's a smart setup.
A lot of the right people are part of this, and it frees us from this tyranny. So we got out. I got out from under Snyder this year. I got out from under Angelos this year. It's a bang up year for me getting out from bad owners.
It can only go up, right?
Can only go up. It can't go down.
It can't go down.
And you got an owner who wants to spend.
He does want to spend.
Got an owner who can spend and afford to keep the prospects that we've developed. And so, and to Brian's breaking news point earlier tonight, we're already making moves. It feels really good. The Orioles magic is back. I will volunteer to be the tomato farmer. Earl Weaver used to grow tomatoes out behind the warning track back in Memorial Stadium. Now, we don't have any tomatoes growing currently at Camden, but I'm pretty good at growing tomatoes. And I will be the official tomato gardener of Camden Yards. I'm letting Carlisle guys and Rubenstein.
Let the groundkeeper know too.
Cal, I'm letting you know now. I'll do it for free. You just give me a key to the ballpark. I'll be in there, watering the tomatoes, taking care of. Yeah, I'll be there 100%. And we'll make them into great ketchup. Can't put it on a hot dog, though. Not in Baltimore.
Not in Baltimore.
Okay. So there you go. That was Chip happy, Chip sad,
Good story.
high and low. Which means we've come to the end of the show finally, which is merciful for Brian. Early?
Yeah.
47 minutes.
Yeah. Always there.
Yeah. We're doing great. How did you enjoy talking to someone in script?
Oh, no. I was surprised you started. I was like, no, I can. The rest of the
we
show
could do this forever.
That alone.
Our audience would be telling us something. 3 of them would have left.
Yeah, exactly.
The other 3 would have been like,
They'd be right there.
Yeah. All right, so you hear that music, which means it's time to say goodbye. Thank you to Jenny Cieplak for coming on the show and teaching us about crypto. Shout out to the folks in Texas. Keep your head down. Stay up on the stairs. We hear that Abbott's riding dirty.
Wheels up.
Yep. All right. Thanks to our radio partners, Masson 2, and HTS.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks,
Masson.
HTS.
Which is great. No, not fucking HTS.
What about Masson 2? They air your games. Yeah.
Actually, it's tough.
All right, thanks to NFTN for staying on the air all these years. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, hopefullymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making it sound as smooth as Pakistan's Ozempic prescription. All right, where can everybody get you on the social media?
On the has been always probably not participating in being a liberal.
You can find me and the show on Twitter at ChipChatRR. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram at ChipChat and somewhere on Blue Sky. Blah, blah. We're going to post links on the blockchain. We're going to post links to Jenny's Jenny on the blockchain. Jenny from the blockchain. Too funny. He's just Jenny from the blockchain. Trying to make sure we get that clip. Right, fuck that up. 6 weeks from Sunday in Colorado.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm Chip. That says that's Brian. You've been listening to ChipChat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Boulder.